Hello, good friends. Dino Mauricio here. First of all, I wanted to thank Bill for a fantastic CAF Live so far. For booth owners, hopefully you've enjoyed some great sales over the weekend. And for buyers, perhaps you've picked up a few great pieces for your collection. Something good? Something badass? A bit of both? Anyway, with a few hours left, I thought I'd take a moment to highlight some stellar gems priced right that are still available at CAF Live. Maybe you can check them out and reach out to the seller, strike a deal, and bring one home to your galaxy. So here are my top 10 stellar gems still available.
Hey, we made it. I didn't have Dino in it. There we go.
Hello, everyone. Hey, Dan. Bill.
Hey, man, no one does it like Dino, huh?
Having fun with it.
Dino, you are the best guy with the video editing that we have out there. You make the best memes. You do the best introductions.
Oh, hardly. No, but I want to do it for the group we have here. It's a great group. Great weekend. Hope everyone had some fun.
Oh yeah.
And you are the legendary Art-Lord this weekend, as we all know.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Look at that wall. Wow, there's a lot of stories up there, huh?
I would say so.
One thing I got to say, I've been going to the local art cons for over 10 years, and each con has its own little niche. There's certain sellers and certain buyers who just thrive in different environments and different situations. And CAF Live is definitely Dino's territory. This is when the lion roars twice a year. And congratulations, hats off to you if I had one.
Yeah, good show. You know, I had this situation where I was getting to know a new collector in the Philippines while I was negotiating deals with two Lucas in Europe, all together, and it was a surreal CAF Live only moment, but really great to again see all the pieces, and I think we had 7,000. Bill, that's a record.
Well, it ended up being closer to 6,500, but I'm not going to complain. You know, but yeah, happy with that. 320 exhibitors, that was a record. So both were records. So I think that I've got nothing to complain about other than the things we'll talk about during the recap. But it's been a good show for you so far, Dino?
Yeah, good. I think I sold 8 pieces, bought 3. I think I got 2 of the top 3 largest sales.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a good show. I mean, I don't think it was as active as maybe a prior show, certainly last year, where these emails were just coming, 6 at a time. But it was a good, healthy mix of art. I think some of the conversations have been very, willing to stretch. But again, people are keeping dry powder for these auctions coming up. There's also some kind of fear of what the economy is going to continue to bring, but overall, I thought there was a lot of really good conversations about what pieces people want and how to get a deal done, which is great. I mean, this is a perfect forum to get that, because we're all collectors basically, trying to better our collections and have fun with it and connect and deal with others.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think I'll be curious to see where we end up with this show sales wise and everything, because where we were at last night was a little alarming to me, because we didn't have. I'm just looking at my notes. We hadn't even hit. We were just over $400,000 in sales around midnight last night. So now we're more than double that. We're almost at over $900,000 in sales, and with plenty of time left. But I was, getting concerned. I thought, wow, but I think maybe that shows that there was a lot more negotiating going on this time around. Whether like you just said, you had 3 different people from different countries that you were working deals out with, and sometimes those take a little bit longer than just somebody going in and buying a piece. But by and large, I bought a piece of artwork that's in the top 10 priciest pieces bought. So.
Bill, congratulations.
Yeah, well, you talk to Maureen about that afterwards, but I'll be selling stuff to make up for it. But it was one of the, to me, they talked about it on the prior panel that there was a lot of interesting art that came up this time around, and for whatever reason that is, for as a show for me, I really felt like there was a lot of affordable priced artwork. There was a lot of
That's
artwork
right.
that was priced where it should be. And there's always going to be the speculative posts out there, from people that maybe aren't completely interested in selling a piece, but if they get a crazy price, they'll go for it. So,
If I can
but that's just normal.
Bill,
Yeah, Dan.
one of the reasons I think maybe your Saturday's numbers were looking a little less encouraging than you hoped is as your show matures and it develops its niche, it's not just you that's getting better at doing the show. People are getting better at attending these things. And unless it's an absolute must-have or it's priced ridiculously cheap, why not wait until tomorrow? Why not? It's people rush to either be the first one on the show floor
Right.
or they want to do the last walkthrough. I'll say on half of the Comic Art Lives, I wind up doing a deal after it closes when somebody hits me back and say, hey, did you wind up selling that piece? And, sooner or later we manage to work something out. So part of it is people holding money and the environment and day two, but also people know how to do this better. They've got their strategies now. This is developing its own little fan base that is doing it their way. And
I totally agree, Dan. You hit the right. And I think it's all relationship based too. I've had at least a dozen folks just reach out, not to buy anything, but just to say hello. I'm interested. I like this piece. Do you have any other stuff by this artist? And by the way, hey, we'll connect and stay in touch, and maybe we could find some way to explore something after the show or down the line. So a lot of that, which is great. It shouldn't just be about buying and selling. It should be about trying to establish connections and exploring stuff that could be meaningful later on.
That's true. And there was a rather large number of pieces that, they dropped on Sunday, the most we've ever had drop on a Sunday, over 2,000 artworks. So
Wow.
You can see maybe some people holding back until the 11 a.m. drop to see if they're really, if there was anything else that might interest them. And I think you're right, Dan. Everybody's just a little bit more savvy. They know how to work the system a little bit better to their advantage and bide their time.
So me, I couldn't help but peek at the top 10, and I think I know what you got, Bill.
Well, I'll talk about it, either
okay.
with this panel or the next. But
okay, I put my bet on a Cockrum piece. I think
exactly. I'm righting the wrong that I did when I built the miniature.
Yeah. There's a great value in there. I think I like that one.
Yeah, I look at it and I just felt like it's a piece that I know I'll never need another Cockrum X-Men page at the end of the day, and so no matter what the price was, I just felt like that was, it was the right thing for me to do, and I looked at some stuff and I thought, wow, I could sell a few pieces and make up some of the difference here. And that was okay. And as collectors, we always have to wrestle with those things, right? When you're on a budget, sometimes you have to let things go. So,
I will say that within the past year, I was able to finally pick up a Cockrum X-Men piece. I think I talked to Dan about it actually before I went after it. And it's taken me a couple of decades to get one, but I found it takes a while when you keep getting outbid and stuff. But that's a try. Yeah, I think you got a good piece, Bill.
Thank you very much. So the point of this show, somebody mentioned it when we were on one of the CAF updates. I think somebody said Dino should do a show where he picks pieces that he feels are good deals or great pieces of art that are priced fairly. And so I got with Dino after that show just to see if he would actually be interested in it. And he was. And so we're here. And Dan volunteered to be a part of the show as well. So I'm glad to have Dan here because he's
Dan's always a great sounding board for market values. He's been around the block like me. He knows kind of what's a good value and what's out there. I also think this is different than we usually do, Bill, because usually our recaps are after the auction. We actually have 4 hours left. So if people like something we show and they're able to reach over and strike a deal, they can come home with something pretty special. So.
Well, I have the 10 picks that you sent me. Would you like me to go ahead and just jump into them?
Yeah, sure. And Dan, again, just you're seeing this blind, so any impromptu comments would be really, really helpful. I'll tell a little bit of the reason why I picked it, and maybe turn over to you and Bill for some comments.
And just try to shut me up.
All right, so here we go. I just got to move some screens around for myself to be able to manage this properly.
Can you show the top of the So
Yep.
this is a wonderful Alan Davis Fantastic Four and Doom battle issue from FF The End. This is a number 6. It was an issue that had 21 Avengers in it. It had a kind of galactic, universe-saving story where the Fantastic Four battle, 10 villains. But this page I thought was pretty special. It's got the Thing fighting Doctor Doom in the entire page. I love the innovative layouts. But when you look at the energy in the page, you have the Human Torch down there blowing a fireball. You got Doom using his power. You got the Thing trying to crush Doom. You have even the second panel up there. You have Doctor Strange in there. You have some other Fantastic Four. Anyway, Alan Davis is known for his kind of good line work, and he's put some pretty creative juices into this page. And at 3,800, I thought it was a really good value. Still available. And look at that Doom panel at the end. So that's sweet.
No, I agree. I saw this one as well, and we actually had. I did some picks as well before I got your list. We have one crossover pick, Dino. So I think we're on the same vibe. But I like this piece a lot. I thought the price was fair. It was in what is it? The Better Call Saul's gallery.
Saul Z, yep.
Yes, Saul Z. So and Saul was running some discounts today as well. So like Dan was talking earlier, people get a little more used to seeing how people might reduce prices on stuff. But this piece, I love it a lot. And like Larry mentioned as well, I mean, he's an Alan Davis fan. So, this is something that a lot of fans enjoy. And this is a great page.
No, he's a great name, great established style. Sharp inks. I don't know who inked it, but it looks good. Definitely.
I like the Doom power thing. It's always hard to show him using his powers. Sometimes they use like these lame electricity things. I like so much more of the kind of the power flush, like he's doing on Thing's face.
It's a nice one, and it's still out there. So I didn't hit refresh. It could be gone by now, but yeah, no, it's a good one. And Saul had a fair amount of decent artwork this weekend. I think his sales, I don't know how many pieces he sold, but I know he sold a few. So that's always a positive thing. He usually brings some decent artwork to these shows.
And the secret with Saul is his babies are his kind of Silver Age, kind of 60s, early 70s art. So when he gets modern pieces or bronze pieces, sometimes he'll let that go at a pretty good deal. So the twice-up pages are tougher to get from him.
Well, there you go. Mark Farmer was the inker. So Farmer's
just
a great
combination. Yeah.
Yeah, he knew how to work with Davis's pencils. They're a great combo.
All right. Well, let's take a look at the second pick here from Dino. I'll scroll up to the top as well. So here we go.
So this is a great Ron Lim Venom page. Lethal Protector is probably the best or beloved Venom miniseries. And I mean, look at that panel. I think this explains itself. Just Venom coming at you. Wonderful imagery from Ron Lim, who did pencils and ink for this. I don't know. I just loved it. Love the power rays all over the page. And it's 10,500, but compared to a Lim Cosmic or Infinity Gauntlet or other pages, I think it would be a great wall-worthy addition. And
well,
that was a standout.
I'm not in love with the price, but the fact is, I'm not a Spider-Man collector of the 90s. It seems to be like that's one of, if not arguably, the most competitive area right now. And good examples really go for lots and lots. I love Lim. I love the action. This screams 90s. I'm an 80s guy myself, but I know there are enough 90s guys out there that this thing should go for 10, right?
Especially Lethal Protector. That series is really, really nostalgic for that group. And some of the best art that came out of that. I mean, I would say Lethal Protector, or the #1 cover, would be a 6-figure piece right now, easy.
Wow.
So you can say it's, well, yeah, Jeffrey says it's not really a deal, but you know, it is what it is. It's back to, if this was at Heritage, where would it go? You know, and if it would go to 11 or 12, then 10.5 is okay. And that's kind of where, you know, you look at things like with Heritage's buyer's premiums, or anybody's buyer's premiums, and at the end of the day, it pushes things up another 20%, 10%. So yeah, you just never know. I mean, it's a roll of the dice. So that, you know, but that's what
guys are some of the biggest spenders in the hobby.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you get the wrong guy on that piece on a Heritage auction, you're in for a long day. Maybe 10K would be too cheap then. It's tricky. Glad that's not my pool. Glad I don't that water.
It's true. And that's just it. You know, you just never know. So as many times as we might look at stuff and say, oh, the collectors are, you know, fishing. Well, maybe, you know, based on their estimations, that, you know, that's what they think their stuff is worth. And we as collectors always will value our pieces at the top end of the spectrum. It's just human nature. You can't, you're never going to change that. You're never going to look at your piece and say, it's really not one of his best Venom pages, you know, and just, you're going to lower it. No, you're going to always feel it's at the higher end.
And remember, time and time again, you always kind of sometimes scratch your head at a price, but then when it's gone and you kind of look back at it 2 months later, you kind of say, oh, geez, that was a good buy.
That is true. That is true. Well, we got 104 people watching this
hey folks,
little hangout. So thank you everybody for tuning in. If you've never been on the channel before, you know, think about subscribing. We appreciate that. We're always talking comic art, not just the on the weekends when we do these comic art lives twice a year. So let's see. So this was in Chris Swart's booth. So anybody who was interested in this piece could swing over to there. Then himself back up to here. Derek Robertson, one of my favorite artists.
Yeah, and again, another 90s piece, but look, it's a full team cover. You know, 2,800 for a Derek Robertson cover. You can't. He is. I mean, they start at 3,000 on Heritage, and this one has multiple figures. A really good composition, and from a series that I think you know, it's kind of an X-Men series tie-in. But I thought this was an excellent value.
Well, I can't say enough great stuff about Derek Robertson. His stuff on Transmetropolitan is some of my favorites. He's great. Everything that he does, every cover he does should be 5K. The fact that this thing isn't 3 is criminal.
I think it hurts that it doesn't have the title stats, so people may have looked at it, looked through probably, you know, hundreds of pieces, and you can't really tell it's a cover, but it's there.
Oh gosh, that used to be a killer, like, you know, 10, 15 years ago.
Not anymore.
Yeah, stats are so easy to do, and there are some guys who are very good at it, and it's not so hard to figure out just to do it quick. But yeah, things like missing stats, or it's on vellum, or it's been colored in. These things used to be like big marks against art, and it isn't like that anymore. If that was holding someone back, please go ahead and buy this thing. It's worth it.
Yeah. And not only you have the full team and a kind of real unique composition, but you have ninjas around there. You have it's pretty cool, I think.
So EC mentioned that they had sold it on Comic Connect recently.
Oh, that's
he
interesting.
says that it even has the wrong
Warriors.
book name. Yeah,
that's interesting.
That's. But yeah, well, that could help or hinder.
I didn't realize he had New Mutants on the top. I forgot.
Well, one of the things that I noticed while going around the booths today was, you know, a lot of people don't specify sizes, you know, especially on commission pieces. That was really frustrating because, you know, I might look at a piece I'm sort of interested in, and then they don't list the size. And I think, do I really want to take the time to send them an email and wait an hour or two to hear back from them? In every case, I'd just move on. And, you know, so I found that a little discouraging.
Yeah.
You know, and I know we don't like try to educate people on what they should write in their descriptions, but the size of a piece is always important. Condition issues, of course, are, you know, always going to be up there too. But I do think that, you know, size on something that clearly isn't on a standard, you know, production board always should be written down in the description. Maybe we almost have to put a field for it that makes people have to pick that.
and not only was this listed as New Mutants, but it never said cover or splash or page. And then Dan will remember this. Some of the best bargains on eBay is when you kind of get those sellers who misspell Fantastic Four or Spider-Man or do something weird, and you end up getting like 10 views. And this kind of reminds me of that, but something that could have fallen between the cracks, as Nick likes to say.
Days gone by, Dino. Days gone by.
Days gone by.
Nothing goes between the cracks anymore. No.
Right
I
there.
do remember the good.
There you go.
It was nice.
So that one may fall through the cracks. So yeah, no, great piece. I love Derek Robertson too. I mean, he's one of my favorite artists, and like you mentioned,
Was that a ninja star there on the bottom left?
Yes,
I remember those in the 80s too.
And it's funny, the description does actually say New Warriors 8, but
the title.
Yeah, the title has it wrong.
Interesting.
Well, Mark Tomlinson, you still have time to update that title and put it back to what it was. It won't help you, get it out there to the masses, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to update that.
I know Mark. He's a good collector. He's so busy putting up a lot of pieces. So this is the one I think Dan will like.
I picked this one too, Dino. I just have to tell you.
This is amazing. First of all, Spectre Art, he brought about 6 Moon Knight pieces, all by Sienkiewicz.
Yes.
This was the choice one. This is under 6,000, which for a quality Sienkiewicz Moon Knight page is I think a steal. Plus, this is number 3. Now, some would argue his peak kind of comes around 17 to 20, but still an early with Moon Knight in every panel, nice action. What's not to like?
I think you pretty much nailed it. It's a really amazing page, great flow, great motion, but there's still a little bit of that Neil Adams influence that you didn't really go all head over heels until, like you said, a dozen or 2 issues in the run. And maybe when people are looking to blow, 6,000 for a piece, maybe they need it to be that kind of stylized. But as a page, as a Bill Sienkiewicz Moon Knight page, it's beautiful and definitely worth every penny. You guys both got it right.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do like his later work, of course. I mean, that's when his, like, the style I think we're most in love with for Bill really started to shine. But, for me, I as far as the Moon Knight, his work on Moon Knight goes, I would kill for one of those pages from what was it, Bizarre Adventures magazine, which was early on. It was
early,
still, yeah. And so when I saw this too,
Hulk magazine.
Yeah, the Hulk magazine.
Yeah,
exactly. Hulk. Okay, that's right.
In fact, I think Dan owns one of the early Hulk magazine splashes of Sienkiewicz Moon Knight. You still have that?
Very first Bill Sienkiewicz page that has Moon Knight on it.
Right.
And
I think I ask you every year to buy that, but
I remember you making a serious play for it about 10 years ago. But they used the pose as the corner box for Moon Knight for the first
so cool.
years. So it was always a beloved image. I've had that thing for 2005, early 2000. So 18 years I've had that thing. You know? Good comic art sticks and collections.
And that's the one that Jim Halperman told you that's a good buy in person.
He did. I had no idea who the hell he was. I had no idea what I was doing.
Great story.
One of my first things, but it was nice, and I'm glad I held on to it all these years later because it cost me less than $6,000.
But yeah, like you said though, Dino, this is it was priced at $5,990, and yeah, I thought that was a really good price for that piece.
There was a time that a solid Moon Knight page was $7,000, like regardless, and that was a couple of years ago. So it's still in my trigger. So when I saw this, I thought it was good value.
Yeah, but like you said, there's I think it wasn't just Inspector's Gallery. I mean Berkey brought us Sienkiewicz Moon Knight page, and I think maybe even 2 other sellers. So it was odd seeing 8 or 9 Moon Knight Sienkiewicz pages on one sale. So yes, there's a lot of competition, and maybe that's why nobody can make up their mind, because there's just so many nice pieces out there. Alberto says he's waiting for the stellar deals before he presses the like button.
I have a Captain America piece for Alberto, so wait till this comes up.
All right. Well, we're switching over to Mike Manola here.
Look, when you talk about good value, I didn't want to put it. This is the most expensive piece of the 10. It's 14,000, but it's a Hellboy cover. There's a lot of published illustrations, whatever. But this is a Hellboy in Hell cover. Great image of Hellboy. It has all the details and skull, skeleton, kind of the marble mosaic, and the cemetery scene that you'd want in a Mignola. And I think it's priced right. They actually show the published image down below. Yeah, I've seen these covers go quite higher. This one may be less because Hellboy's smaller in this in comparison with other covers, but to get all the other elements, I think it's a good composition, very representative of the artist, and for Hellboy fans, it'll check all the boxes.
I noticed this one too. I like it a lot also. I like the context of it. A lot of the covers floating around are on secondary books,
Series, yeah.
Done for this event or that. This is a Hellboy cover, legit Hellboy in Hell. It's the main story, and it's a strong scene. You've got the main character there. When I see these things being shopped around, nobody's offering them privately for less than 15. I'll say that. So having a good one at 14 is pretty solid if you're in the market. I won't say it's ridiculously cheap, but I would call it below market value for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and there are a lot of Hellboy covers out there by Mike, and a lot of the later ones don't really have that much atmosphere to them. They're more somewhat spot illustrations, and I like this piece a lot just because the graveyard does at least go from left to right, fills the page, and yeah, I mean, so I like the imagery a lot, and honestly, it probably it is, I think, accurately priced from the sales that I've been watching the last 3 years.
Agreed.
And we got a Brian Hitch and Kevin Nolan page.
So this one is a unique piece, I think. It's just over $1,000, but if you look at it, what it is a great representation of Arkham Asylum. The detail behind the buildings, the ambiance, the way the page is framed, and if you kind of scroll down, you actually do get a little Batman in there, which is pretty cool. But again, something that wouldn't jump out at you, but for a good detailed image. I mean, Brian Hitch isn't necessarily an A level artist, but he's done some great work on some Marvel and DC, and I kind of like this as a kind of a composition piece that really sets the stage. It's like a title splash, but it's full edge to edge on the board, and just having something that kind of connotates the mood of Arkham Asylum, I think is really brilliant.
I totally missed this piece. Thanks for pulling it up. It really is good. It's got a lot of atmosphere. It must look good going corner to corner. The inks are nice and crisp. And like you said, there is a wonderfully positioned Batman, teeny, but he's right there in the center. It sets a really nice scene. And that's around $1,000.
Yeah, I mean, what can you get for $1,000 these days?
Oh, that's worth every penny. There are enough Batman buyers. Someone's going to buy it now. Someone should. It's worth it.
Yeah, I agree. Nolan's inks on this thing are fantastic, and Brian is up there. I mean, he gets a lot of the choice jobs these days. So I'm not sure when this piece was drawn. I mean, I don't know if it's on there or not, but either way, I mean, it's
and Nolan's well known for Bane, and it's a Batman and Bane, and that whole Batman ethos when it was on the run for a while.
Yeah, everybody's taking umbrage with you not saying Brian was an A-level artist.
Sorry,
that's all right.
It's not something that you would automatically say 5K and up, right? So that's what I meant.
I would agree. I mean, I think Brian Hitch is kind of underrated, in a lot of ways. But with the Nolan inks on this, and it's just a beautiful image at $1,000. It's a good buy.
Yeah.
Fish says he considered it and then went to bed. Well, all right.
Well, I sold Fish a nice Hitch. I sold Fish that big it's a triple page cover to the big US crossover. I can't remember that. Anyway, it was Hitch and very detailed. No, the big crossover that had 170 characters on the page. I'll remember it next time, but he's a big fan of Hitch.
Mystic.
Mystic. Yeah, Mystic Wars.
That's what I said.
No, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
All right, moving right along. To a
Okay,
Mike. Yes.
Alberto. Okay, so this is a Mike Zeck Captain America page battling Doc Ock. 6,000, it's priced right, I think, but you get a lot of action on this page. Good panels the entire way through the page. Anyway, I've always been a big fan of Zeck Captain America, and if you don't want to spend $60,000 to $80,000 for a cover, getting a good representation with a battle scene, and then I love his last word. That last panel, he goes, "For me to finish what I came here to do." That's just awesome. I mean,
Well, the thing with Zeck Captain America is it's awesome, and I love his entire run. I've got several examples, but he did enough issues where you can be a little bit picky. And one thing I really like about this page, besides having the action, is the Cap Doc Ock kind of matchup is very Secret Warsy. It's very much a kind of a fight scene of the era. It reminds me of a lot of classic Marvel action of the day. It's a better example than average for sure. And I imagine you could find a cheaper page on a dollar and cents term. But this is really great impact. And like Dino said, you don't have to shell out cover or splash prices for it. So, it's a good thing.
No, I agree. And it was funny. Zeck wasn't on in any of the keyword searches that I've run the last couple of days. I don't know why. I mean, he's not somebody I always think about when I want to pick up a piece. But so I was happy when I saw this piece, Dino, because I totally overlooked it. And like West, I love the first three panels. Of course, the action scenes are great. No, I mean, it reminds me why I should have something from Zeck in my collection.
now, if you expand the number of keywords, you could probably fit in Zeck at the end, but
I could. I actually think
get to the end and we're like,
openings.
I think I end at S or something or T because I can't get to L.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll work on that. We've got, like
right.
I told the guys in the last panel while we were still in the green room, I think we're going to see more updates to Comic Art Live between version 7 and version 8 than we've seen from version 1 to version 7. Just after the issues we had, and
awesome.
It made us think about a lot of different things as well. And I think we're going to make some really good improvements that I'll talk about tonight.
But I noticed little technical improvements each time. The want list thing, like before the doors open,
huge. I like that.
Great. Everybody loved it. It's showing, Bill. And honestly,
thanks.
I think if the Captain America mask didn't pull your hair so much, you might have like some Cap Zeck in your collection.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I should never have worn that thing. It's going to go down in infamy, but
Get it?
But this is a great page. I mean, come on, Doc Ock battling Cap. I mean, what more could you want? And but yeah, anyway, great pick on here. And who's the inks on this one? Oh, Frank McLaughlin. So I knew that it didn't look like Beatty's work, but still a very nice page. And next up, so this is Scott Neely, and it's in a booth called Marvel Star Original Art.
Yeah, so this is Topps card art. So it's a published, but it's not a comic. It's on card, but it's a full it's a full 11 by 17, I think, which is bigger than most card art. But look at Han Solo. You got the Stormtrooper helmets. You got the Ewoks. Again, I love the composition. He's just hanging out, chilling. But a lot is going on. But for $2,500 for what you pay for a Star Wars art these days, I thought it was a good deal.
When I saw it, like in the little tiny picture preview, I thought maybe it was a Williamson piece, and I lost my mind.
Oh yeah, then it would be 20,000.
Right.
I'm not a card guy, but that thing stopped me. I won't lie. I stopped when I saw it. It's not the price that stopped me. It's that I don't collect Topps cards.
Yeah, and look, he's wearing kind of a fang necklace, which kind of resembles the Wolverine one, if you remember right, during the...
Wow, oh, very nice. And what was the price on this? I forgot to mention.
$2,500.
$2,500. at the end of the day, I do follow the trading card, original art trading
do you?
card market a bit, and that's actually a pretty fair price because it's funny. You'll see, especially for Star Wars related trading card art, usually it's smaller for one thing, but I see prices regularly go up to $1,500-$1,800 all the time on select cards by select artists. So a piece like this that's published as trading card art at $2,500, it seems like a fairly priced piece, and it really is pretty attractive. If you can look at something and think potentially Williamson a little bit there. I mean, now that you see it in detail, maybe not so much, but still, it's a great image and a great piece of art. What are the deals in Dino's booth? Larry wants to know. We can talk about that after we go through this.
Yeah, a lot of stuff left. I actually went with 48 pieces this weekend just to make things fun, but happy to work some things.
All right.
So I think you had Jimmy Palmiotti as a guest, Bill, recently, or at least had a sales show with him. Or
well, we've talked. I've got a sales show coming up with Amanda Connor, and Jimmy and Amanda will be at that art show in January too. They've already agreed to do it. So
this is Marvel's Comics Presents 98. This whole kind of 90 to 105 was just a really nostalgic run, at least for me, in terms of reading. This is look at this Ghost Rider page. It has a melting skull, a half splash, and then if you go down the bottom of the page, it has some terrific two panels of just super Ghost Rider saying vengeance, and then you have him basically running off with his chopper. I just thought it's got a lot of elements that make this pretty special. And Jimmy's been with his work with Quesada and his history with Marvel, he deserves to be kind of well respected. And I like this page a lot.
Well, if you like Ghost Rider, you should like Vengeance, and that's what this page is all about, right?
Very, very true. And again, I forgot to look at the price on this one, $3,500. Oh, that's not bad.
Not bad. I mean, I wish it would have, if it were under 3,000, I probably would have gotten it myself. But 35 is still a good deal, I think. Mm-hmm. And anyway, I'm just, even though you could look at his representation, but just the page itself, it could have been any artist that does this, and I would have been impressed. So,
no, it's very nice. Yeah, I like Jimmy's stuff a lot. I mean, well, this is a nice pick. I didn't see this one either until you had pulled it up. Again, Palmiotti isn't in my keyword list. So,
it's 6,500 pieces of art. If you go, 20 seconds per, you'd spend 8 hours going through everything, right? So a lot of things you miss.
Very true.
All right, so this is Brunner, Doctor Strange, an early one too, I think, from issue 4. Is that right? I think this is the death issue. Just some marvelous inking on this. The feathering, the pen. I mean, I think he didn't list. I think this is. I can't remember who did this. Like Alcala, I think, or who did the inking in this. It wasn't listed, but. If you look, just a quality page. So Doctor Strange 4 is pretty special. It's the death issue with the skull on the cover, and it's a wonderful story. But this is one of the key scenes where he's meeting this journeyman who takes him through the other famine, who takes him to this netherworld. But again, just classic Brunner on Doctor Strange. A lot of great. I mean, you look at the line work on this; it's just fantastic. And then I like that the last two panels, you have the Doctor Strange close up, and then you have him on his horse.
Yeah, no, I remember this story very well. I used to have this oversized recreation of the cover.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a real trippy kind of cosmic odyssey. It was like the first real good story I remember after Ditko left, where he had to die and embrace it to go the next, and it was very, very 70s, and his art was so sharp from this period. You've seen a few really nice examples show up at auction over the last couple of years, and they just kill it. The numbers are great. This page I didn't realize this was a Dr. Four Strange until I stopped and really took a look at it, because it doesn't have those cosmic things jumping out.
Right.
but the quality is there on every single panel. If you're looking for an example, this fits the bill for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've seen the last 2.5 years, several really choice runner Doctor Strange covers come to market, and they're selling for really strong prices. I mean, more than I was expecting. Each and every one of them, they did really well. So, to get something, Doctor Strange 4, that's it's not bad at all. It is a gorgeous piece of artwork. Brenner's somebody I used to own some pieces from, but have not. I don't have any in my collection right now. So another good reminder. See, I should be doing a search after the show's over to see what else is in here from Frank. So this was priced at $6,800 in Saul's booth as well.
Man, how much did Saul pay you before this show, man?
I didn't even look at I take a blind eye to the seller when I look at pieces.
I do that when I'm doing my art picks for CAF, the CAF update. I don't look at whose art it is until after the fact, but that usually gets me. I'll pick pieces and then realize, I got two, and then I'll have to drop one or something. But no, great 10 there, Dino. I did go through and did put likes on a few things. I don't know if there were going to be anything that we could consider noteworthy or not, but I could take a quick look and see what pieces did I set. So I can open up some of these. This was a Buckingham and a Chris Pacello death page. I thought was really nice. It's priced $7,750, but I'm always a fan of both artists' work. Like the panel layout on this, and anytime you can get either one of them doing the death character, I think is pretty slick. But it's a market I don't know very well. So for me, it's
a great one. There was a death time of your life page just sold. I think that was a top 15 page over the weekend. I sold my death pinup.
You did? Okay, because the last time I looked, it wasn't
I think
sold.
it was the most saved artwork, at least in the show. I think it had 15 or so saves, and
I heard a couple people talk
deal with
about it. Very popular piece for sure.
I didn't even wow, I forgot about that. The saved aspect of filtering. See, I don't even know what I've got anymore. I'm kind of kicking myself. I didn't utilize that feature once this weekend. So I've got.
But this is a great page, Bill. I mean, I think
website.
Oh man, but no, I agree. Thank you. The other pieces here I picked a Rizzo Wolverine piece. I mean, Rizzo.
Well, I should say before the Buckingham has someone has a DPS from Fables by Buckingham with Peter Pan on it.
Okay.
It's quite fantastic, and I think it's cheaper than what you have this one at. But again, this is death. It's going to get a premium. But there's a great Fables DPS out there too.
Oh, this one right here.
Oh, yeah, $850. I mean, for Buckingham, please.
Well, it's in Joseph Melchior's booth. I mean, he. I always think that Joseph brings pretty decent art to Comic Art Live, and the prices tend to be pretty, fair.
I think this is a typo. It should have been a 1 in front of that 8.
I'm sorry. You're not going to get better prices on Buckingham art.
Yeah.
Better than Joseph. It's it right from the source. He's from the artist. I think his work on Fables is very undervalued.
I agree.
A lot of impact. A lot of people read it. So I see you're on the next page, so I'll stop talking. But Buckingham's awesome, and so is the DPS.
Well, this is me just clicking on the detail, but yeah, it is. But yeah, back to we can take a look at Joseph's booth just for a second to see where he's at with stuff. But Brian Bolland interior page prelim for $650, a cover prelim to Tank Girl by Bolland sold for $1,750. I mean, they're right where they should be. He's not like overpricing these. What do we got? A Darth Vader by Travis that he probably it's from 2010. So $125. A Gary Frank Batman for $300. I mean, and then a Dave McKeon that looks like it was done at Como. Last week.
I think Joseph is one of those booth owners that may not have as much interaction with the community on a day-to-day basis. So he makes sure that if he's going to take the time to put up a booth, he's going to price them to sell. And I think that's part of the reason why he's had almost a 50% sale rate, right? He's not going to waste time.
Right, 5 of 9 pieces sold, and I actually like this. Yeah, I know that the last 2 shows he brought one choice Bolland like advertising art, right, from what was it? What was the name of that comic shop? I can't think of it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's
Forbidden,
right. I remember that.
but and those
Forbidden
two
Planet.
sold. Forbidden Planet. I'm sorry. Duh.
Yeah, and that
And,
actually made the best of calf, I thought.
It did. Right. It did. I mean, and deservedly so. And I saw this one too, priced at 16, and I thought, I might go. I mean, there's so I'll highlight it because this was one I looked at early on, and because I was really curious to see what Joseph was going to bring. Was he going to bring another Bolland, advertising piece? So I don't really know what this was used for, but I mean, you probably aren't going to get Bolland drawing the Thing, Storm, somebody from. I guess probably Red Sonja back there, Sergeant Rock. I mean, again, so a pretty cool page. I mean, but this one at 18, not being from Forbidden Planet, I'm assuming not from Forbidden Planet, made me think, well, maybe it's a little strong, but the other pieces sold like immediately.
Yeah, I think this one held back because the characters Bolland's known to draw aren't on the page necessarily, like a Batman or a Joker or even Judge Dredd. But if he had one of those 3 on this, it would be snapped up by now. Yeah,
that would have been too cheap.
Right.
This is what a cheap finished early Bolland piece looks like, 15 grand, and at that price level, you should be able to be picky, but when it comes to Bolland, you can't.
There's a Captain America on here, Alberto. Just saying, I didn't even notice that until just now.
And for the Thing fans, nice Thing there.
Yeah, the Howard the Duck.
And he did pretty much next to no Marvel art, so that might be the only cap.
Probably
from Bolland.
And ROG 2000 too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so this piece is starting to feel a little bit better to me the more I look at it. But again, still but the thing is, I respect sellers who like Joe, like you, Dino, that you always tend to bring really stuff that we're not expecting, right? And they're booths that we always kind of seek out at the beginning of a show, I think. And I don't think we have a tool that allows us to filter on most saved exhibitor booths out there, but I would have to think that yours and Joseph's always are. And that's one of the great things about Comic Art Live is the people who participate in it as exhibitors. I mean, it takes time to set up a booth and kind of curate what you're going to bring. And but at the end of the day, it makes for such a valuable experience. I mean, clearly for you to have one of the most liked piece in this show just shows that you've done a great job over the last 7 shows, really curating what you bring, and people are really, really focused in on it, and you bring good art.
But it also works the other way. So that piece itself, this morning I posted it. It was like had 14 likes, but then think about it. If there's 14 likes but no one's buying, that tells me my price was too high. So I didn't wait until the end of the afternoon. I actually lowered it at 10:30 in the morning or 11:30 in the morning, right? The show in. I said let's make a deal, and I was able to kind of get a buyer shortly thereafter. But right, if you had 100 likes and no one's buying, then that tells you your price is kind of out.
True. That's a good way to look at it. But that's kind of why we wanted to show you things like the number of views on a piece and the number of times an artwork was saved, just to give you an idea of I don't know, the heat meter on that piece of art, right? Because you can scan your whole booth and see which pieces are really getting the most interest. So
that's right.
That was wise. Did you, out of curiosity, so you lowered the price at 11:30? Did you use that retargeting feature to send out an email?
It's very easy. You click on the number of saved people, and it says, "Hey," I said, "Hello, friends. I'm reducing the price. Thanks for your interest. I'm reducing the price 10% to X," and it clicks and it goes out just to the people that had saved the piece. So they knew before anyone else that the price had lowered. Then I got all these emails saying, "Oh, I'm interested in this," and I had one of the Lucas and I'm not going to say, but some people had contacted me, and then it was about who could come to the table the fastest, and it was so I'm really happy.
Perfect. Well, see, it's working as intended. That's wonderful.
But also it does help. I'll learn for the next show not to wait till the end of the day, because at the end of the day there's so many owners booths that are lowering prices. If you do it around noon or 1 o'clock, you're one of the few ones. You kind of stimulate demand that way, I think, because you're not being crowded out by all the price reductions. Learn a lesson.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't let's see, what else did I pick up? So I had that Sienkiewicz. I picked a early Dazzler page by Springer and Coletta, just because I thought it was, a nice image with her fighting Terex. I mean, Dazzler fought like everybody.
Yeah,
Like she shouldn't
the
have.
first 10 issues of Dazzler were great, because when Marvel knew that they wanted to create a star, but they brought in all these guest stars like Hulk and key villains like Doctor Doom and Galactus, and
Right.
trying to think about a battle or an alliance between a roller skater who transforms music into power and all these kind of established heroes. They did that to draw interest in the book, which is amazing. So if you look at every issue, it's like this major confrontation between two heroes that don't seem to fit together.
Exactly. And what was the price on this? It was $24.23. So I think that's probably about right for effectively a battle page between Terex and Dazzler from issue 10. So yeah, fun to see.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Let's see here. And then there was a Stell Freeze Jubilee piece, which I felt was fairly priced at $6.50. His lines are always long. He only takes like 6 commissions usually at a show, so they're hard to get. I like the Arthur Adams Thor that was out there.
There was another one too by Eric Larson. Has a nice Thor full page splash. That's pretty cool.
We can check that out.
No, you don't have to. It's rare for Larson. 98.
It's over in Josh Gray's gallery. It's a beautiful piece.
It's cool. I actually was thinking of I thought of Bill at the time. I was like, that's
I did not see it.
Worthy.
See? That. Yeah, that's it.
Sweet.
$5,800 on that one. That's nice,
isn't it?
And published.
But he's a very solid dude to deal with. I've done deals with Josh in the past. Can definitely recommend. Would do it again. I
bought something from Josh this weekend too.
Oh, great!
I did.
Congratulations. Good.
Let's see. Oh, back.
No one's going to ask me what it was, but I'll keep it quiet. All right, I'll tell you what it was.
Come on, tell us now, Dino.
I bought it was a RoboCop 2 #1 cover. It's Jim Lee's first Marvel cover. So
yeah, he did the
historic,
right?
Yeah, it's so nostalgic with the movie, and I like the RoboCop, Transformers, all that genre, all the toy stuff.
I know the cover well.
I thought it was. I got that like 2 minutes into the auction. I mean, into the show, I saw that, and I struck out to Josh and made a deal. So.
Worth every penny for sure.
Well,
thanks, Josh.
James says that that cover was great. So yeah, it sounds like a good one. And then I picked. I like Rampaging Hulk. I mean, this was a decent one. Sal Buscema
with Thor.
Yeah, with Thor and Ant-Man and Wasp in this one, and the Hulk. So nice page. I mean, a lot of those. Hulk
those are actually the founding 4 Avengers.
That is, I didn't even think about that. That's very true. I mean, so it makes this page even better. But because a lot, again, I love the magazine era for Marvel, but the Hulk, you don't see a lot of great Hulk pages come up. Not too often. And this one pretty much got it all.
Bill, because he was fighting the original Avengers in this issue. I've seen a bunch of pages come up. They look a lot better. I saw a page with him fighting Iron Man in the original golden armor.
Okay.
And, those go for really good money. It's all in the context of it.
Sure.
It's not that Rampaging Hulk magazine is hot, but a really good, solid example, plus done by the right artists and got the right nostalgia. And it's just good art. Those things, they're worth money. And they go for...
And I'll ask Dan. Dan, isn't it right? These are published for black and white. So the artists actually had to put a lot more detail than they would if it were colored.
Yes, the grayscale is how it all came out, I believe. So, they knew that. There was no colorist. This is the colorist right there, the wash. So, great stuff. Really.
Let's see. I picked a Cosmic Odyssey page for fun.
The last one.
Right, exactly. Let's see. There was an Aliens page by Mark Nelson. I always like Mark Nelson.
Oh, I love Mark Nelson.
So as a work of art, I really like the piece. Right, it was priced at $750. It's in some someone's booth named Art and More Art. But again, I mean, Nelson's a solid illustrator. This
Wonderful.
looks like it was done on Duoshade board as well. So cool piece.
I love Nelson. I have his Aliens poster work that he's done.
That's right. You do. That's
once I have that, I never have to look at another Nelson Aliens piece. But love the work. One of my biggest. I'm a big fan of it.
And then there was a Bissett Toddleben Dracula page from '82. I thought was
which
pretty
is
nice.
The same group. Bissett Toddleben did Swamp Thing, right? So they're applying their collaboration to something else, which is great.
So I love the imagery in this one. I mean, again, it's $6,000. I don't know if the price is right, but imagery wise, I mean, there's a lot of great stuff going on here. It feels a little Corbin-y as well. I mean, in the way the ink work is done on it.
You get the Dracula Lives panel too. That's nice.
Right. I mean, and this one, I'm not I wouldn't seek out either of these artists, but as a work of art, I just love this piece a lot. I thought the panel layout and the storytelling was really, really, really nicely done. And then I'll show you because I have the piece that I ended up buying is in here too. It's that.
Show it.
It is that X-Men 150 page.
There you go.
So, and it cost me a lot, but I'm so very happy because I mean, I've used to own several Cockrum X-Men pages and let them all go.
Bill.
Thank you. I mean, this is my first time buying something that was 5 figures, but I did it, and I don't regret it at all. I feel like I don't need to worry about, just like you were mentioning with Mark Nelson. I now don't need to get another Dave Cockrum on any page.
And I love the page. Like you have a lot of good characters on the page, but also remember the imagery of the Blackbird jet coming out of the water. It has that kind of Phoenix tone. It's not exactly from that story, but it does have those same connotations of a very memorable.
Well, it's Star Wars. I mean, it's
gag. This is Kitty pretending that she can use the Force like Luke was.
Right, and then Colossus is putting it up, right? Well, that's right. The good one, Star Wars.
No, it's a very memorable beat, and it's Cockrum X-Men, which, I always knew that was awesome, but everybody seems to agree and is willing to spend more than me. So I can't say you did anything wrong. Congrats, man. Good.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. And you like having action pages, but it's back to this is what makes the X-Men, has always made the X-Men a special book, right? It was just the character interactions, and there's a gag in here. It's effectively it's an early, Kitty page technically, even though it's 150, it's still first couple of years, so it's just fun.
But from 143 to the early 170, I mean, Kitty Pryde was the kind of like the anchor of all those stories.
Yeah.
She took a big role.
True. And there's Cyclops on there too, Marcus.
There you go, Marcus.
But yeah, no. So those.
So can I ask Bill? Bill, did you have this on your want list? So it came up as a Cockrum want list before the show started, and then. I hate to say it. I did see this piece in the when we were going through. Maureen and I were working through some of the programming. Cockrum X-Men or X-Men was a common search I would do while we were beta testing stuff, and I saw it and I was like, "Oh, Maureen," And so what ended up happening was I didn't exercise my godlike powers to do anything. I waited till the show started. And I sent my my inquiry in, and I got it. But if Maureen's listening, Bill got a great buy on this, and he deserves the page. He's worked hard, and he's going to take this, and I'm sure cherish it for a long time.
I will never make the same mistake I did back when I built that miniature golf course. This page is not going anywhere, and I couldn't be happier. I still think Burn X-Men page is probably out of reach for me, but I'm really happy to have gotten a good. Dave Cockrum example.
You see what happens in this hobby. You kind of you pull down one of your grails, and now you're already talking about the next big grail.
He wasn't saying that. Listen, in case
I still feel Burn X-Men is definitely out of reach. I don't think I could ever drop $30,000 on a page, right? And the thing is, you look at it, you see a Burn X-Men page that you like. Because I'm good friends with Berkey, right? I mean, and he had a line on one, and I'm like, Mike, I know that page is literally not worth more than 35, but if I could come up with 35, could I get it? And literally within 24 hours, he had an offer at almost $60,000 for it.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, and it doesn't
too
have
much.
anything great on it, you know. And it's just
No.
like, you know, when I know where something should be, and there's too many people that will overpay for it, you just know you're out of that market. And that's why. So with Burn X-Men pages, I just can't see it ever.
Well,
ever.
congratulations, Bill. It's
Thank you.
it's 6:00. I'm gonna have to exit stage left, but I am so glad I was able to join today. And Dan, always good to chat and see you.
Likewise.
Let's
And I'm
hang
gonna
out.
let you guys carry to the end of the show.
Yeah, let's
No.
hang out in person sometime. Call me.
That sounds good. Let's have lunch. We'll do it at that mall again.
Sounds
Sure.
good. Well, thank you, Dino, for doing this. Dan for hanging out with us in this as well, and everybody in the chat. This was a lot of fun. We need to do things like this a little more often, but we appreciate it. Have a wonderful end to your show. We've got about 4 more hours left, so there's
Go out and get those gems.